Good afternoon, everybody. How are you doing today? I almost left myself muted there for a second. So, today we're going to be starting out, or not even starting, we're going to be continuing on with some Unreal Engine development. And good afternoon, everybody. How are you doing? I am hearing myself from somewhere. Let's find out where. It looks like mute that tab. Alrighty. Let's start off by loading up the Epic Games Launcher. Hey Lucas, long time no see. I haven't talked to you in, I don't know, like 2 minutes. So, we're going to open up our project, RocketBall Remake. Now, I have noticed sometimes with the Unreal Engine, what you can end up coming across is that it will not launch doesn't show any messages before my good evening. It doesn't always show this modal dialog on top of other windows, for example, blah blah blah. Did you pop into my voice chat or did you say it in text? Because I'm not really... the Morrowind trailer. I did check that out. Sweet. Let's pop over into my chat. Alright. And do I see people in my chat? In voice chat? I do not see you in here. Odd. Takes a few seconds. I am still running a hard drive, so... This is one of the fun parts. We can just dance. Loading, loading, loading. Very odd. Yeah. And you should have voice permissions. I might have been messing with the door back there. You can pop back in again. I was in preparation stage. Alright, so we're not going to restore the assets that were already open. That's alright. So, just in case you haven't taken a look at the previous one, hey, let me increase your voice because I can barely hear you over the music. Yep. So volume all the way up to 200. Try again.
Hello?
Hey, I can hear you just fine now.
Yay!
Yay! So if you hadn't gone and taken a look at my previous video, which I had up on YouTube's, this is a character. And which
I didn't save them.
I see how it is. Just come in and don't even take a look. So that's alright. So I'm about to show off.
It's in my tabs, I promise.
That's alright. That's alright. Take all the time you need. The reason why I archive these up to YouTube is just for that very purpose. So other people and myself can go and take a look at them again for reference.
Nice.
So, by the way, I won the copyright suit.
Woo!
Yes. And I have no copyright strikes against my account. Sweet. I ended up contacting both PASSiO and Fab something or other that I can't remember his name.
Yeah.
And both of them ended up saying that the song was completely royalty free and that there shouldn't be issues. I contacted one via email, PASSiO Gaming, and the other one I ended up talking to on Twitter, and they ended up tagging YouTube. And so everything ended up, Filibusta is the name of the other person, PASSiO and Filibusta. So they ended up tagging YouTube, and when I went and checked it today, everything was all set. So I'm back to listening to this playlist while I'm doing this.
Yay.
So the essential bits of what we ended up doing last stream was set it up so that there's a portal gun.
Right.
If in a couple seconds you'll see as I'm stream that I just shot 2 little balls. One of them red, one of them blue. Those are the portals.
Dude.
And interesting physics things happen if you end up shooting a portal onto a box. You end up sending the boxes flying all over. So what we're going to be working on today is simply we're going to make some gates, which work exactly the same way as the portal gun, except for you don't shoot them out. So they're going to be an environmental portal, essentially. Yeah. They become part of the map. So what I'm going to start out by doing is Unreal Engine has something called BSP. I always forget what it's called, but I'm pretty sure that the B is brush. Essentially what it is that you can go and create something like this square,
right?
This cube, and then you can go into this geometry editing and you can pick any of the vertices and go and create a something different than a cube. So what I'm going to check out doing this time is I'm going to throw it in as hollow. Oh, nice. So now that I threw that in as hollow, I can go in and create this gate that I'm planning on doing. Actually, I'm not going to do it as hollow, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to create 2 pillars and then something to stand between the 2 pillars. So I have nothing against blocky items, so what we're going to do first is we're going to go up here and select extrude, and then we are going to extrude up the face of the box a little, and then we're going to do a second extrude up a little, and then we're going to grab each of these corners and bring them in 2 ticks.
So I had somebody try to add me on Facebook.
On Facebook?
Yeah, I was trying to figure out who it was.
Okay.
The person, the name sounded vaguely familiar, but it was one sound vaguely familiar anyway.
Right.
And so I was asking Sick, I was like, hey man, do you know who?
Any luck figuring out who it was?
Yeah, Stolen Valor.
Okay.
Good.
I'm not sure if I know who that is.
Stolen Valor is when somebody picture of a soldier pretend like that.
You are cutting in and out, it seems. Let me see if
any better now that she's paused the sounds?
I could hear you saying something without a bunch of cutting out, yeah. I couldn't hear any sounds before, yeah.
Okay. So,
Stolen Valor is?
Stolen Valor is when somebody either, online it's mostly, people stealing pictures.
Right.
It's also like, when people, dress up in uniform and say that they're soldiers to, get benefits.
Right.
But the name, the last name on the account was Lorenzo. Lorenzo.
That sounds like an interesting.
But the name on the tags, on the name tags, was Sullivan.
Okay.
I was like, oh, well then.
Were they saying their last name was Lorenzo?
Yeah.
Huh. How weird.
So I was like, okay.
That's not weird at all.
Just a spam account.
Yeah. Then we'll go and select.
You can't do anything. It's messing with my microphone.
Me or?
Kiddo.
Oh.
She wants to watch TV, but apparently, because of how sensitive my microphone is, the second she paused it was when you said that you could start.
How weird.
So.
There we go. And so now we have a very generic gamer art gate,
Yay!
as you can now see. And maybe we'll make it a... Oh. Okay. So, let's fix the width issues first. It's a little too wide.
You're done for the night, Rain.
Alright. I forgot to take into account that the basic cube would be a little too wide at the top. So I could deal with this one of two ways, but let's just go and 150. Oops, derp. That's too much, I think. Yeah. So we'll do 175. Oh, derp. Okay. And then what we will do is we will move this entire pillar out a little. We'll move it down. Alrighty, so that's giving us a much that's good to notice. Alright, so it looks like one of the things I ended up doing was I did not evenly bring those in. So, bring that out one. There we go. Go back in here. Delete that. Delete that. And then we're going to drag this pillar over. We're going to... I don't think I can. No, can't do it that way. Go back into geometry editing. On this face, move it out. And let's reduce the snapping for grid to 5.
My bot just now said that you're live.
It's weird sometimes.
Yeah. Yeah, you don't need the beam you have to put in there, but the Twitch you don't. So.
Yeah, it hadn't already, so that's why I did.
Well, it takes a little bit. Like it just now did it, so.
How mean of it.
You just gotta give it a minute. Or 6.
20. It's alright. So we're going to move that in a wee bit, and I think I just heard Rain.
You did. She's complaining.
Hi, Rain.
What am I possibly gonna do when I can't watch TV?
Your homework.
You said work on your homework. What about that project you've been working on? On top the toodles.
So there we go. We now have a better looking gate. I'm not gonna make it 100% perfect, but congratulations, we now have gate, which is at least mostly right. And what we can do is we can take these BSPs that we created and we can convert them into static meshes. So we're going to call this gate or SM underscore gate. The SM is for static mesh. And then click create static mesh. And we now have a single mesh of a gate, which we can drag, drop, we can go and duplicate it, delete them, and they are now under here. And we're going to drop those into the RocketBall folder, move that in there just to keep things organized. And we're going to move it into the gate folder because that's where it should be. Now, what I am also going to do is if we double click on the static mesh of the gate, you'll notice that there is no collision. There's the screen outliner, but there's no blue one for collision. So what we're going to do is we're going to go in and add a box simplified collision. You'll notice, unfortunately, that creates a box that goes directly over the doorway, which we're going to be having people go and walk through. That's no good. So if we click on the collision and swap over into scale mode, we can scale the collision down, and then we can drag it over to one side. And maybe we can scale it just a little more. Let's reduce the scaling. Snap to, actually we're going to take scaling snap off in this case. That way we can, I said take scaling snap off, thank you. So that way we can freely resize the scaling. And in my opinion, it's always better to have it a little bit larger than a little too small.
Right.
You know, okay, so the person can't exactly line up with the edge of the gate. They don't need to be sticking their face on my walls anyways.
Lols?
You know? Don't need no wall lickers in here.
Wow.
Alrighty, so not to say that I have anything against wall lickers. I've licked a few walls myself, but
that explains a lot.
Yeah, I think it was lead paint. Alright, so now we can go in and hit play, and we can walk through here, but we cannot walk through the walls of the pillars. I could have tossed collision up there, but what's the point? Unless someone's going to jump on top of the gate at some point, which theoretically I could totally do, is set them up with, you know, like...
So all the walls are collision?
Yeah, right now all the walls are set up as collision. Alright, so if I wanted to, I could... I guess I don't have any way to get up that high anyways, so we're all good to go. So the pillars have collision, the center doesn't.
Oh well.
Which is fine. Now what we're going to do is we have these blueprints right here. Blueprint blue gate and blueprint red gate. And I'm going to set it up so that we only have a single wall that they end up going and trying to, or a single gate per level.
Right.
For the time being. Don't need more than one. And we can figure out the more complicated bits of the code later for having more than one, which should be fine. So as you can see, I basically duplicated the portal spheres from the gun, and what we're going to do is we're going to drag and drop this into here so that we now have them tabbed, and we're going to click on the static mesh gate, and we are going to add component, type in start typing in static, and it will automatically add in static mesh gate. Now the big thing I want to do for now though is I want to center it kind of over where the sphere is, and right now you see we have a sphere collision, which that's all well and good, except for we want the gate to actually glow, not just be some glowing ball in the middle of two pillars.
Glowing balls are awesome though.
If you say so. So we're going to set the Z height scale on the cube that we just tossed in there to 10. Maybe that's a bit much. We're gonna set that to 5. Still a bit much, but a lot better. 4. There we go. To 4. And then what we're going to do is we're going to scale width to about there. Alright, now we have a cube in the center, and then the X width we're going to set to 10. Is that right? No, that's X location, 0. X scale to 0.1. That'll set it to 1/10 of its original width. And we're going to put this forward, as far forward as there. And we're going to increase this width a little bit more. So 3 rather than 3.2. There we go. That should be good. And what we can do is we will click on the sphere. We will find Material Instance Blue in the content browser. Go back over to the gate. Click on the cube we had made, and then click on Use Selected Asset from Content Browser icon. And now, notice the gate looks freaking psychedelically bright.
Lol.
Good lord, that's bright. Oh, my eyes. My eyes are dying! We're actually going to want to bring that down. So what we'll do is we'll go to Material Instance Red. We will create a Material Instance. And that we're going to call it Material Instance Red _ gate. And we're going to do the same for blue. Create a Material Instance blue _ gate. We'll go into the Material Instance blue gate. And fair enough. Alright, so one of the things I did not expose in the master material for these glowing things is the multiplier constant for how intense it is. So what we're going to do is we're going to right click on that and convert it to a parameter. This parameter we're going to call intensity. INSITY. Intensity. Save that. Go back into Material Instance Blue Gate. We will now see intensity. We'll set that from 250 to 150. Save that. Go back into the Blueprint Gate, and after selecting Material Instance Blue Gate, and then use Selected Asset from Content Browser. That's still very bright. So, File, Save, Instance Blue Gate, set that to 50. Save, and Material Instance Blue Gate is not going down too much. It shouldn't be though. What is going on? Looking directly into it, looks extremely bright. So we're going to set the root as SM gate and attach that to the root. The sphere collision can go away. You know what? I know why it's doing that. It's because of the Fresnels. So...
What?
Fresnels. So Fresnels are basically thingamajiggers that do thingies. I don't remember exactly. So I know with a sphere, you know that sort of glowy whatchamacallit that you end up, and when you get onto the, when it gets up to it in the stream, you'll see how there's this fade.
Yeah.
Alright, and that fade is determined by Fresnel, or is what's actually making it fade in and out like that. So I'm changing it to a couple different colors so you can see what it looks like with different Fresnel colors for the inner Fresnel. Then if I hit cancel, it'll go back to the normal, and then the outer Fresnel is just for the very outer edge. So I can set it to have, say, a yellowish one or a greenish one.
Right.
And then you can see what it would look like flat. The outer Fresnel doesn't affect it at all. But But if I go back in here, set that back to blue. Alright, let's see. So let's hit play. We'll go in and we'll take a look at. Oh, there. Alright, we'll take this static mesh of a gate out. We will go back over to gate, and we'll take this blueprint gate blue, throw it into the level, and hit play. Now we can see there's this blue with collision right there, which means that we're actually supposed to be going in through this direction. But we're going to end up going in, taking that, taking the collision off of the cube that we added. So the way we can do that without having to go in and manually change the collision is we can change the collision preset. Currently it's at block all dynamic. What we want it to be is to be overlap all dynamic.
Okay.
And now, instead of blocking us when we try to walk through it, we can walk right through it, which is all well and great. Now we have a gate. And what we're going to do is we're going to delete the blueprint red gate, blueprint that we already have. We're going to finish off making the blueprint blue gate. And we're going to want to add a box collision. Now this box collision is what's actually going to trigger us traveling. So what we're going to do is we're going to set this to be, say, 64. Okay, so bring that forward a little bit. And then X we're going to set to be 250, 70. There we go. Y we're going to set to be 200, I think it is, yep. And then Z we're going to set it to be 200 as well. We're just going to bring that up. Now the box collision you won't actually see in the game or when we go to test run it, but it is very useful for doing something like this. So now we have our box collision. If I right click on it and go to add event, we can do on component begin overlap. Alright, so now it gives us this on component begin overlap box. And then we can see here on component begin overlap sphere collision, SP collision, which was what it used to be in the gun. The gun portal sphere had a sphere collision on it. So now we're just going to double check that everything looks good. Yes, yes, yes. And then we're going to plug other actor into object, compile that. And what we will now do is we will go over here, blueprint, blue gate, and we will duplicate that to be blueprint red gate. Now obviously it looks exactly the same as the blue gate at the moment in the viewport, but what we can do is go over here, go into the portal materials, material instance red gate and blue gate. We will drag and drop under, not portal, drag and drop to gate.
Stop.
Move them. We'll now click on material instance red gate, blueprint red gate. We'll choose our cube, and we'll choose from content browser, compile, and save. Now the big difference between the two is going to be in this event graph that we have. This is a section called blueprint scripting. It's basically letting you program the game without having to know any C++.
Right.
So under blueprint red portal of get all actors of class, what we really want is we want blueprint. We are in the red gate, so we want blueprint blue gate. And then what it does is it gets the first, it's zero based, as it's a programming thing. So we get the first in the array of objects that it pops out. And then we're going to get the actor location and rotation from that first blue gate, and we are going to set the actor location and rotation of get player pawn 0, so that would be us, to the location and rotation of blueprint blue gate. Yeah. Compile that, save that. Array of blueprint. So this right here is going to have issues because it had originally been. Second. Go to get. It had originally been for the blueprint blue sphere, so it can occasionally have issues. Compile, save. Now we'll go into blueprint blue gate, and we will delete this git, set this to blueprint red gate, out actors, we'll create a new git, and we'll plug that into there and there. So this get function only grabbing the first one is the reason why the way we're getting the reference to the opposing gate is the reason why I'm only setting it up as a single gate per level. Because no matter what, if we put 10 red gates in there, it would only and 10 blue gates, it would only teleport us to gate number, the first gate that we place. Right. So now, for example, we should be able to go in. We've got our blue gate right there, and we're going to set our red gate. Let's set it back here in the corner. Get in the corner. Oop. Now hit delete. Set it in the corner.
Don't put baby in the corner.
Nobody puts baby in the corner. Now we should be able to hypothetically walk right through, go to red gate. Walk right through, go to blue gate. Woot! It works. And the kitty says hi. Miss Molly, come here.
Kitty.
Let Lucas see you.
It's gonna take like 6 years for me to be able to see.
But she says hi. And we've accomplished what I was planning on doing today. So I'm actually going to be getting off stream.
Lols?
Well, I mean, I could always try to do the other part, but I haven't figured out how to do it yet. So it could be a Unreal Engine learning stream where you're watching me learn. So, okay. Here, I'll explain the issue to Lucas, and maybe Lucas will have an idea other than the one I have. So, right now, let's go into a more open area. If I shoot the gun directly straight across, you'll notice I just shot where you can see where the crosshair is and you can see where the ball landed.
Uh-huh.
Not the same place. It is not centering on the crosshair. So I'm thinking that my line trace script is pulling. I know that it's pulling from a place on the gun, but it's not pulling from where the crosshair is, which I think I need to fix. So I need to figure out where the crosshair is first, and then we will see first person HUD. Okay. Go into the viewport. Default scene root. I do not see a crosshair. So let's go into construction script. There's nothing in the construction script. Event graph. Draw a crosshair in center of screen. Alright, so now it's got this texture of X and Y. Texture first person crosshair. So now we know how it's doing the crosshair. What we don't know is, can we get a reference to that somehow? But it's not actually referencing. Huh.
Can I get the reference? Why is the reference not referencing?
Well, yeah, why does it have this default scene reference? under variables, but it's not referencing it anywhere in the code. It's not using it anywhere in the code. What I really need is I need to know exactly how to do the same thing. But where's the event receive draw hood coming from? I guess would be the next question. So let's go back over. Let's see under first person character if we have a draw HUD blueprint. Movement input, axis move forward, move right, no. Set VR orientation, set hidden in game, or the other meshes if we're in VR mode, mouse input, jump, spawn projectile, no. Attach to components. Okay, so it's not getting it from the first player controller. HUD, no. So that's just, must be getting it from the HUD class. Yeah. And that must be a default reference, apparently. Yeah, it doesn't look like there's any good way for me to be able to pull out of here a reference to the location of the crosshair. I can see how it's drawing it. That's relatively simple, but it's definitely not showing how to do that. So
I'm sure there is somewhere.
To get reference to center of screen, Unreal Engine 4.
Well,
Unreal Engine 4. Huh. How do I get reference to object under crosshair? There you go.
Love you. Go put it away.
Try one of these notes. An image in new tab. Get player controller, get hit result under cursor for objects. Let's try it. Can't hurt.
There you go.
So, get hit result under cursor for objects. So what we'll do is we'll go into the first person character player controller, and we're going to test this out on the red portal fire. And that was called get hit result under cursor for objects. Get hit result for cursor under objects. Under cursor for objects. Okay.
Okay.
So we're going to set that right here. And target is going to be self object types. We can set this as, shouldn't have to actually, so hit result we should be able to just plug in here Compile that, see if we get any errors. Blueprint self is not a player controller, therefore self must have connection. Alright, get player controller. Compile. Current value of object types is blah blah blah, promotes a variable. Hit objects. Gonna call it file. I'll add array elements. World static. World dynamic. Compile. Save. Go into the game. Play. Yeah, that's even worse.
Rip.
I mean, look at that. That's not even close. You can see where my original trace was going. You can see where it fires. I mean, if I hit there, it's off to the right. What the heck? Let's try doing this in a standalone window. Save selected. Give it a second and she'll pop up. Ooh, loading screen. Yeah, it's even worse.
Uh-oh.
Because that's where what blue is doing. At least it was in the same forward direction.
Yeah.
Now it's not even in the same forward direction. If I... Where the heck is it? There it is. Now where is it? Not even sure where it went there. Yeah. That's where I fired it at. And that's where it ended up. Alright.
Use fear 42. That's the trick. No. Not useful. So it should fix everything, right? Oh. But if it's the answer to everything, then it should be the answer to your problem. Getting closer. Yeah. Right. Guns do that, yeah. Right. Yeah. Rip. Oh yeah. Yeah. Woot. Awesome. Nice. Yo. Yeah, I'll be live in like 30 minutes. Bye.